All right, Assalamu alaikum, family. You're tuned in to the Sajdah Wendy Muhammad channel. And I'm your host, Sajdah Wendy Muhammad. We're going to be talking about Sajdah House sponsorships today. And while you look at these couple of commercials, I'm going to jump over and try to go live on IG simultaneously. All right, see you in a few.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judges, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
I have told you the first part of my life, I was a farmer in Georgia.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Nobody there was looking at me blind and you thought that I would ever be a scientist teaching the world.
Yes, sir.
See, it is time that brings all that.
Assalamu alaikum, family. You're tuned in to the Sajdah Wendy Muhammad YouTube channel, and today we are talking about Sajdah House sponsorships. So I just wanted to take a minute, give some clarity around the sponsorships, and then just walk you through the presentation. I know the end of the year is coming. People are thinking about what can I support, and for those of you who don't know, Sajdah House is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House Museum located here in Chicago. It's the former national house of the Nation of Islam and the former home of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and our beloved mother, Clara Muhammad. And we are currently working on completing and renovating it. I've been working on this now for almost 6 years, and the goal is to be done by February. We'll see, or partially done, or at least done to a certain extent. This is one of those projects that you kind of never really get done because it's always growing and always evolving. Those of you who aren't following us on Instagram, you can go there, Sajdah House, at Sajdah House on Instagram. I'm also live there as well. Everybody on IG, we are on Facebook Live and on YouTube Live as well. I want to talk a couple of minutes before we jump into the sponsorship presentation, a little bit about, I'm sorry, somebody was texting me, a little bit about the importance of preserving our history, specifically urban historic presentation. Okay, I'm broadcasting live from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House now. You see this beautiful fireplace behind us that we have exquisitely restored. Interestingly enough, that in many of our urban communities, our history was there. We were redlined into very small districts all over urban America, and that's where our stars were born. Most of modern pop culture, modern history, some magnificent things happened in those blocks, in those everyday neighborhoods, and in those everyday homes. And so what's beginning to happen now with the whole regentrification movement is a lot of that history is at the brink of becoming extinct. We're almost at a point where you won't even know who lived where, or you won't even be able to find out. The other piece of it is that it's time for us as a people to begin to own and monetize our own history. It's just time. It's time for us to own the homes of our ancestors. It's time for us to monetize that history. And it's time for us to create hospitality as well around that those people and that history. If you don't do anything but renovate the house and rent it out, at least be able to say, hey, you're renting the home that so-and-so used to live in. And people will drive by and it may even raise your rent values. Even if you just renovated, and in some cases, people are Airbnb-ing, you could say, hey, do you want to stay at the so-and-so house during your next visit to Chicago or Cleveland or whatever? So it's important. And don't sell grandma's house. I know sometimes when grandma passes the house down to us, we be needing money. There's family fights over it. Unite around the cause of history. And as we were talking on Sajdah Saturday morning coffee talk, and I was talking about unity, I was saying, let's find the common ground. What do we care about that we can unite around? Even within our families. If there are some family members that want to sell the house and others that don't, unite around historic preservation. Okay, that's how important it is. So I'm going to jump right into the presentation. Okay, if you are on Instagram, you can jump over to the Sajdah Wendy Muhammad YouTube channel and and see the presentation. Otherwise, you can just stay there if you just want to listen. Okay. Also, I must mention that with Cyber Monday, we have 20% off of everything on our virtual gift shop today, including this cute sweatshirt that I'm wearing. This is our commemorative Elijah Coin sweatshirt. You can use the QR code that's here, or if you go to sajdahhouse.com, scroll down to the bottom and there's a link that'll take you to the virtual gift shop. But check out the website. Go there and check it out. But you can use the QR code as well. Let's see, what else did I need to tell you? So 20% off, that's everything. It's only for today. Okay. It goes back to regular price tomorrow. So put it on your credit card. But I want you to give a gift that matters. I want us thinking about the gifts that we're going to be giving to our family and friends, and give them a gift that matters. Don't try to act like y'all don't still participate in all this gift giving and the exchange. Don't try it. Don't try it. You're still buying stuff. So buy them a gift that matters. Let's see. What do we need to talk about before we go into the sponsorship presentation? Some of you may have heard the commercial that's on Final Call Radio. Let's see. Trying to think of what else you all may have heard. Anyway, let's dive on into it. Let's go into it. Let me add this. Give me a thumbs up if you can see it. All right, this is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House Museum. We were added to the National Register of Historic Spaces as Elijah Muhammad House, 4847 South Woodlawn Avenue, here in Chicago. We are working diligently to, continue to raise funds to complete the house. Thank you, Sister Dawn, for that. But if you can see the slideshow, I'm going to the next one. Here, I'm sorry, the writing is small, but what I will tell you is that this home, as I mentioned again, is the former national house of the Nation of Islam, and it is the former home of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his wife, Mother Clara Muhammad, and their family. In this home is where our Nation of Islam was built. And for those of you who don't know, we are a nation within a nation. And it was a space where when you wrote your Savior's letter, it came actually to this very room that I'm sitting in. If you sent in a donation, they came to this house. If you had to call and speak to the messenger, you spoke to him here from this home. If you had to come for a meeting in Chicago, or you wanted to come see the messenger, you came to this home. There were also some very powerful meetings here in this home that we hope to share the history of those meetings here. I'm always listing out and talking about the fabulous leaders and representatives and icons that visited this home, that just walked up that sidewalk, and in so many cases, when we travel, you know how we go when we do tourism and we go out of town and they say, oh, this is where so-and-so lived. Well, we got an opportunity to do that as well here in this space, on this sidewalk, right out in front, sitting in the sitting room downstairs where we're going to show you a slide where you can become a sponsor. Martin Luther King, Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, Mother Tynetta Muhammad, Mother Clara Muhammad, James Baldwin, Senator Adam Clayton Powell, Sam Cooke, James Brown, Che Guevara, Stokely Carmichael, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Wilma Rudolph, you name it. You name it. There's been so many. Andrew Young, the Democrats from Georgia, all of them. Bernard King, so many. And so it's important to preserve this space. And your sponsorship will help us to have the cash flow to manage getting this renovated. We do have a small loan, and we are going to be paying our loan back as well. And so you can also assist with that. But what I really want you to do is sponsor a room, because that's the less that your sister has to go out and come up with. And so there's a section in here where I talk about myself a little bit. Some of you all know me, some of you don't. My name is Sajdah Wendy Muhammad. I'm a real estate consultant and developer. I've developed over $600 million worth of projects. I've trained and coaching probably close to 100,000 entrepreneurs over the last, since 2005, when I was really doing it, when I really started doing it. And I don't like defining myself by what I do or what's been done, but I've been very blessed in my career to have had access to a lot of businesses, a lot of business model. I recognize that I have a depth when it comes to business that is very rare because of my career as a consultant and as a developer. And I know that word consultant is thrown around a lot now. I had a friend of mine say, I hate consultants, and I understand. And I'll tell you, in the context of how I've worked as a consultant and starting out in public accounting, some of you may remember is back in the day in public accounting, the consulting firm was part of the auditing firm. And so I went into public accounting because I wanted to have access and understand and meet and learn from a lot of different businesses. So when you have audit assignments, some can go as long as a year, 2 years, some can be as short as a month. So in the course of a year, you may have seen the inner workings of between 5 to 10 companies, depending on how the types of projects you get on. That gives you a breadth of experience year over year over year. And then I went from there into consulting, which is the same type of setup, right? So you work for a firm, the firm sends you out, and there's all kinds of different aspects in which we're consulting, from startups and mergers and acquisitions to crisis management, to strategic planning. Sometimes it's accounting audits or just accounting prep work, not doing any audit, but just preparing for the audit. It can be component driven. So that's what I've done. Then I went into independent business for myself, and had several business partners. I was a hospital developer. I built a micro hospital in Maryland, worked on a couple of hospitals in Nigeria. The one in Maryland, I was also a part owner. I've built wellness centers, clinics, surgery centers, and a number of different aspects of real estate. But those are some of the big projects where I really cut my teeth independently, was on some big healthcare projects that I was also a partner and an owner in Maryland and in DC, and then some in Africa. And so I just wanted you to have that sort of picture of me. I became a registered Muslim in September of 1990. So I've been striving to live this life for a very, very long time, in the midst of traveling around the world and working as a consultant. I was blessed very early on in my career to work for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and also at the National Center. And I gained a tremendous amount of experience and just access to greatness during that space. So that's who I am. Now I'm here today building the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House Museum. And I'm grateful. One of the things I'm most grateful for, I was listening to somebody the other day talk about somebody, and they were judging them. It was a younger believer judging an older believer. And I said, you know what? I said, if you can be here 30 years later and say that you are not only just as in love with Allah and his messenger and his greatest student, if you're not if you can stand here 30 years from now and say, I'm just as in love with them as I was then as I am today, then you can come back and have a conversation with me. Because you can't make a judgment of that person, because you just got to work on yourself. And I can honestly say that when I fell in love, September of 1990, actually it happened in July, but I got my ex in September 9th, 1990, to today, I am more in love with them than I was then. I feel more connected and loved by them even than I did then. My relationship with the three has intensified and personalized, and I have given them my life. And so I said to this person, come back and holler at me 30 years from now, after you've been disappointed, after you've been tried, after you've messed up and made some mistakes. Let's see if you come back. Let's see if you stay hooked into Allah. So suspend the judgment, because we don't know where we're going to be. And we got some times coming up in front of us that's going to try the hearts of a whole lot of us. Anyway, raising that vibration a little bit, just to give you an idea of who I am, and I'll defend them to the death. I don't even want you all to see the power of my love. This is different right now. This is a different presentation. Okay, let me go to the next one. Let me stop. Okay, so this is the first room, the sitting room. And this is downstairs on the first floor. This is where a lot of iconic meetings were held. This is this particular meeting here with the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It is where that meeting was held. A lot of people see these numbers and they get scared. And I recognize everybody has a different money psychology, but I want you to understand that you can contribute to this room. Just like when you go into museums and different spaces, you'll see a plaque on the wall and it may have a number of different names on that plaque. So you don't have to come up with this total dollar amount. If you have it, all praise is due to Allah. That'll chunk down a lot of bills for your assistant. But if you don't, the contribution to each of these, the minimum is $2,500, and you can have your name added to that list. Okay. And I apologize to you guys if that was not clear previously, but this particular room, if you say, hey, I love this room, I love those Herb Cupsonette interviews, I love all the things that I've seen there, and I want to contribute to the completion of this room, and I got a check, I'm gonna write it for the whole thing she's asking for, then we'll tell you how to do that. Or if you said, no, you know what, right now I'm still working to match my vibration to the act of being able to make that type of donation, still working. And I want to do something smaller. And right now I'm a match for $5,000, or right now I'm a match for $10,000. You can do that. You can contribute in that way, and your name would still be on that list. Okay. Now, if you want your name on there exclusively, then you just pay the whole thing, and we'll say this whole room was sponsored by so-and-so, so-and-so. Okay. So you can make smaller contributions, whatever right now you're vibrationally matched to. If you're matched to 50,000, if you're matched to 5,000, in order to get your name there, the minimum right now is 2,500. Okay. And we'll have another space for people who donate smaller amounts. But for right now, for the actual sponsorship, the title sponsorships, that's the participation amount. Okay. All right. Here's another room. It's the dining room. Again, same thing. I know that's a big number. Same process applies. This room is very special. This is that famous dining room when you listen to Theology of Time and you hear those dishes clanging and you hear the silverware clicking, and just, you know, I just, as a believer, I'm just so, I almost started crying. I'm so blown away at the history that is in this house, and just it's amazing. And so in this room alone, you know, if any of you all are familiar with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad Table Talks that our brother Imam Sultan Rahman and his family have preserved and made available for us. They were recorded in this room. We're going to be doing a big partnership with the Table Talks program in this room. And so you may get a chance to come here. Whew, this is making me emotional. You may get an opportunity to come here and listen to excerpts of the Table Talks. I just thank Allah for his messenger. And I thank Allah for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because through my love for him and then the love that he demonstrates for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, it just made the love so palpable in me. And honestly, I can't even imagine not loving them. I just can't even imagine, and I can't imagine anybody that loves them not, participating in anything that preserves who they are. I can't imagine our children living in a world where they don't know these great three men. And it's not all up to this house. I mean, our nation is never going to fall again. But preservation is important. And we should be preserving sites like this all over the country. Okay. Whew, this one does it to me too. Okay, this room is the Pine Room or the Trophy Room. The picture on the right is the actual room as it looks right now. And the picture on the left is a very well circulated photo of Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, on the mantle, and sitting in front of it is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad with his son, Imam Warithuddin, standing there next to him. And so you can sponsor this room. Again, the same thing applies. The same thing applies where if you are not vibrationally a match to this this amount here, you can certainly participate in a small level, as small as $2,500. Okay, again, there's nothing wrong with when you walk up to that room, there could be a plaque there that has 20 names, 100 names on them, but your name can be on there, you and your family name. I also want to tell you, if you have any archives, anything that you want to donate for that, you were in the first and you want to donate things to us, we can work out a sponsorship participation level for you for that as well. And then we are going to have a space in the basement where there are archives. Archives are being held where people will be able to access them. We're still working on that. That's going to be phase 2. But if you have archives, or please, please, please don't throw away your parents' stuff if they were in the nation. If you're not in the nation and your parents were or your grandparents were, we can take the stuff. We can certainly take it and help you to preserve it. If we were to display it, we can certainly put your family name, a company name, whatever name you want there. We have a lot of pioneers who gave their life to the establishment of Islam in North America. And during the unfortunate fall of the Nation of Islam in 1975, things were broken up shortly thereafter, and some people didn't make it back when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan stood back up after 1978. Some of us didn't make it back. And so some of us, our items are out there. And the reason why I know that for sure, I'll tell you, in the 90s, I was selling real estate in Chicago, and on the south side of Chicago, all throughout South Shore around the mosque, I used to go door to door trying to get listings and then to sell my services. We just go door to door. And almost every house, whenever I had a listing appointment, I would say 1 in 3 homes had a picture of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and or Master Fard Muhammad in their home, because there were a lot of Muslims in Chicago. New York is the same way, and there's many cities like that. So if you know people with archives, if you're in the nation and you have archives, before you throw them away, please contact me. Okay. I'm sorry, you all, for getting emotional. Again, I was supposed to go to this slide. This is our archival room downstairs. We have 2 of them where we'll have some shelves. We'll be able to preserve items that were either rotating to go out on display, or items that we will, once we begin collecting, make available to the public for viewing. Okay, and again, if you want to sponsor one of these 2 rooms, don't be shy. If you are not vibrationally at the point where you can match that financial amount, then let's talk about what you're vibrationally at a point to match. And I can also set up a Zoom call with you where we can walk through this again. We can tailor something to your budget and to your interest and just kind of what you've gravitated towards. You know, for me as a Muslim, I've gravitated towards business and developing new business models and ways of doing business that are not predatory in nature. That's been something that's been very strong for me, almost my whole life. As I started studying business when I was very, very little, thanks to my parents. But you may say I gravitate towards education, and so this archive room means something to me. You may say I gravitate towards the kitchen, and that room means something for me. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't know why this talk today is just making me full. I don't know. I just keep thinking about all that they've worked for, and I think about how much they endured and how much the minister and his family has endured, and the messenger and his family has endured. And it just makes me want to work even harder and do my part so that their work doesn't go unnoticed. It's interesting because in our community, we are so desensitized towards the value of our history and the work of the people that came before us and our ancestors. And people are so accustomed to us being detached. People will say to me, aren't you the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's granddaughter? Are you his daughter? Are you his niece and his great niece? And I say, no, I'm just a believer. And they don't believe me. And sometimes they'll still say, okay, she don't want to say she's a family member. I'm a family member by spirituality, but not by blood, or direct blood, you could say. But I'm just a believer. And I'm somebody who continues to be in love with the 3 of them, just like it was when I first accepted. That's it. And it has been this lifestyle, this mindset, these teachings, this wisdom that have contributed wholeheartedly to my success. Because my parents did a great job. I had a great background. I didn't come from a traumatic upbringing. But there's a lot of people like that. It was these teachings that kind of accelerated that gave me a foundation that I could just kind of pile upon. So I'm just a believer. There's the back garden, which we call the friendship garden. That's where we want to have event spaces. One of the neighbors told me that when he was a child, former neighbor, when he was a child, that he would watch the Honorable Elijah Muhammad walk around back here after dinner. And I just thought it was so cool to listen to him describe what he looked like and how he walked and the pace at which he walked, and he was a child at the time, and he would watch him out of the window. So this garden is very special. There's sacred footsteps that have walked in this rear garden. We call it the Garden of Peace because it's so peaceful back there. It's just quiet and beautiful. And, it's amazing. So you can sponsor that too. Again, you don't have to have the entire amount. Many of you know that, but I want to keep emphasizing that you can contribute. And when we put the sign up, you'll be one of 10 or one of 5. Or if you say, nope, I want the whole thing, then you could do that too. We are using technology to talk about the impact of this great history and the impact of the work of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And in using technology, we can preserve the beauty and the timely architecture of the space. So we don't have to bang on walls. We can keep the space changing and evolving. So if you're here this week, when you come back 3 months from now, you'll want to come again because there'll be a new display and you'll be able to see it digitally. And we're going to do some interesting things with archives and a digital distribution. We also are working on something very special in the coach house, and that'll be a little bit later down the line after we get the house done. Unless, of course, you just want to come and say, nope, I want to sponsor putting a whole theater down there, which will be an educational space where people can come and sit and listen and have discussions and talk. And I'm calling this place-based education. So education is going to be a big, big component. In fact, about it, one of my own personal platforms, I actually have 2. So whenever I donate money, it's either to education or healthcare. It's just how my platform is. And so Muhammad University of Islam, we hope to be able to have a nice surplus once we get, all of our bills taken care of, and we can support and make donations to independent education. Also, healthcare, y'all know that has become a love of mine, healthcare development. And so I want to find a way to support or even build some healthcare projects here. When I was sitting on all those hospital projects and when I became an owner and I could start making certain design decisions based on the teachings, I really, really honed in on how to fold the teachings into policies and procedures and HR documents and things like that. That skill was developed during that time because all I was thinking about is the hospital that the messenger wanted to build. Whew, okay. Of course, we have the coins. You can buy up a block of coins if you want. Right now, they are on sale, 20% off, only for Cyber Monday. They go back to their regular price of $350 per coin after midnight, 11:59 tonight. So you don't have to have a special code or anything. Just go to the virtual gift shop. You can use that QR code that's there, or you can go to sajdahhouse.com, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and then it'll say the virtual gift shop and click that. While you're there, make sure you join the mailing list because I'm going to be publishing the schedule. Our coin holders are going to get first access to the schedule. But we have a long waiting list and a lot of people that want to come and visit. So when we post the schedule, you want to be on those mailing lists. Okay. All right. This is our How to Eat to Live kitchen. We have this beautiful mural of the book, How to Eat to Live, an adaptation of the How to Eat to Live book that's going to be on the wall. It's an example of our appliances that we're waiting to come in. This is very important because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us way back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s how to eat to live, meaning what? When you combine How to Eat to Live with some of the lessons in our problem books and our Supreme Wisdom, you see that cardiovascular disease has been a threat to us as a people for a number of years. And right now, it's the number one killer of Black and Hispanic people. And when I said cardiovascular disease, there's 6 risk factors that most of those risk factors can be addressed in the kitchen. And so when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, with his great wisdom, said to us that the kitchen is our pharmacy, and that as women, we really need to understand the science of food and know what to serve our family and when, this is done in the How to Eat to Live kitchen. And our goal is that we will be able to give programming and teach diabetes prevention, which is one of the risk factors. So many of our people are suffering from diabetes because we're overweight. And that's another risk factor, but that is also addressed in How to Eat to Live. High blood pressure, that's also a risk factor, and that is addressed with the dietary program of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Smoking, just quit. That's the messenger's response to that. But smoking is a huge risk factor for cardiovascular disease. And there's so many of us now that smoke, and we smoking up everything. So that is a risk factor. Even if you are a marijuana smoker, and I'm not talking about the medicinal stuff that you're smoking for your glaucoma or anxiety or cancer. I'm talking about that street smelling stuff that when you're driving down the street, it just takes over their car and your car. Be mindful. Even if you're young, you're putting yourself at risk for cardiovascular disease and a number of other things. Many people get blood clots and suffer from blood clots as a result of smoking excessive amounts of marijuana. But yeah, so those risk factors and more, infectious disease, are addressed right in the kitchen. And so this is an opportunity for us to educate the community on how to prevent these diseases that are rampant in our community. Okay, I'm gonna keep going here. This is our woodwork and stairwell. You could say, hey, I just love wood. Let me tell you really quickly, I have fallen deeply in love with wood. We've got over 5 different species of wood in this house, which is very cool. Wood has different spiritual qualities. And so you can look those up. The way that they vibrate in a room or change the vibration of a room. Walnut for tuning in, mahogany for creativity, pine for cleansing, ash. We have all of that here in this home. And so one thing that I found in my research, I sat with one of our sisters from the Native American community, and she explained to me that wood carries energy for over 100 years. And I was explaining to her that as we began to clean the wood and access it and touch it and work with it in the house and bring it back to life, you could just feel a different energy coming off of the wood. And she taught me how to read the wood species. And I really want to go deeper into that science, especially since so many times nowadays, we don't even put wood in our house. We got, drywall, we want marble, we want, all of this stuff, but wood is very spiritual. So you may want to sponsor that. Again, don't let that number scare you. If you are not a vibrational match to that number, it's okay. Let's talk about what number you are a vibrational match to, and let's build you a sponsorship around your budget and around your interests and desires. Okay. Again, we talked about the coins. I'll say one thing about the coin. You see that picture to the right? That's the copper that we took off of the building, the gutters, the downspouts. We had it melted down. We designed the coin, melted at 1,983 degrees Fahrenheit. And it is actually minted in this case. And this company generally mints coins that are in circulation, but they have minted these for us specially. And we got a lot of coins left. So y'all jump on out here, get the coins. They are 20% off today. When I made the coin out of the copper, my plan was to come up with a new coin each year, right? Because I thought they would go so fast. And I remember saying to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, I said, I don't understand. I said, anything I see with the messenger on it or you on it, I gravitate to it. And he just said, oh, sister, that's because you're in love. I was like, oh, okay. But I would have thought that we would have sold out of the 2020 coins by now, but we have not. And so I'm optimistic that we will sell out in the next 90 days. I'm very optimistic. That's the goal that I have in my head. We have close to 700 left. So there are some people who have been so generous. They have 4 and 5. I know people that have 10. And that really helped us out early on because I've been personally bootstrapping this project along the way. And so all of your support has been greatly, greatly appreciated. Anything that you all do to support and donate, don't think anything is too small. Some people will cash app. There's a sister who has been assisting with security. So if you say, hey, I want to help with security, I don't have these big numbers, but I can give $100 a week towards security, or I can give $25 a week towards the gas and light bill, because you probably can only imagine that this is a 12,000 square foot house and it's pretty hefty. But I've given my life to this, and this is where I am. And so I'm offering this as an opportunity for you to participate in this great blessing with me. All right. So here's the way that you can make those contacts. I'm going to go, if you are on IG, I'm sorry for ignoring you guys, go to sajdahhouse.com or support.sajdahhouse.com. They both point to the same website. If you need to email me, you have a question, you want to set up your Zoom, email me, sajdahhouse@gmail.com. One more thing. I haven't heard this rumor and gossip in a while, but somebody said that I was very arrogant and that I named the messenger's house after myself. I did not name the messenger's house after myself. If you haven't been following me and you don't know that story, when I purchased the home, my name was Wendy Muhammad. I took on the name Muhammad in 1998 when the minister allowed us to take Muhammad as our last name. So I legally changed my name. So all my business, all my work has been in Wendy Muhammad. I've traveled all around the world and I wear that with pride, and I'm a Muslim with pride. So you won't catch me out here like, no, I ain't in the nation. That won't happen. If I'm in Poland, I'm Wendy Muhammad. If I'm in Johannesburg, I'm Wendy Muhammad. If I'm in Lagos, I'm Wendy Muhammad. If I'm in Beijing, I'm Wendy Muhammad. Okay, that's just how I've rolled. But when I purchased the home was in such bad condition. We had raccoons running all through here. It was just dusty and stinky, and I didn't feel like the house was yet worthy to bear his name. And so I didn't want to go around and say Elijah Muhammad House or Honorable Elijah Muhammad House. So during that time, people were asking me a lot of questions. And my question was always prayer, adore Allah. I love for Allah. I look for him everywhere in everything. And I have a practice and a habit of chronologically just being in love with Allah and looking for him in everything. And so the word Sajdah came up, and I said, that's nice. I said, that's a nice name. I said, why don't we call it Sajdah House until we can figure this whole thing out? Obviously, eventually we put a plan together and it made sense. We got on the National Historic Registry as Elijah Muhammad House because I was comfortable in applying it in that name. But in the early stages, the condition of the house, I wanted to just call the project Sajdah House. And so because I knew that would be public, I asked the minister if he thought, I think I wrote him, if he thought that Sajdah was the right name for the project, so Sajdah House. And then later, his response, among other things to me, was Sajdah is the right name for the project and the right name for you. And I completely missed it. Someone else who was on the phone said, "Did you catch your name?" And I was like, "Wait, what?" So y'all can stop with the gossipy the slander and all of that. That's I didn't just go, "Yeah, I'm all that. I'm going to name the messenger's house after me." No, that's not how it happened. And so I am embracing and growing into who Sajdah is. And so you see me doing that. And so and the Sajdah Wendy Muhammad became because I have been on radio. I've been on Blog Talk Radio since 2005. Then I was on broadcast radio in Washington, D.C. I had done a bunch of television and radio around the world. So people kind of began to know me as Wendy Muhammad. And so I put the Sajdah in front of it, so people could kind of still know it's the same person. And now slowly been gravitating away from, just having such a big, long name. It's just Sajdah. And it's interesting because somebody said to me, they said, "Well, Wendy is a spiritual name too. It means friend." And I said, "That's sweet. I'll take that too." But anyway, yeah, so that's how it is. So it's Sajdah House because of that. Support Sajdah House. The official name is Elijah Muhammad House, or the Elijah Muhammad House Museum. You'll hear us refer to it as that as well. Okay, family, I got to get out of here. I got to go. I thank you all. Thank everybody on Instagram and on here. If you, let me make sure So if you want to participate, it's going to be scrolling across the bottom here. There you go. I thank you. I thank each and every one of you for joining. I hope this helps motivate you to support. I hope it helps to explain what the sponsorships are all about. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Just email me. I apologize for not recognizing you guys in the chat. For some reason, this presentation this morning is very emotional for me. So I'm going to skip it and I'm going to go. Okay, family, I love you all. Thank you. And let's work. Let's work to unite. And let's work to support and be and want for our brothers and sisters what we want for ourselves. All right. Peace and blessings, family. Assalamu alaikum.
Number one, we want freedom. We want a full and complete freedom. Number two, we want justice, equal justice under the law of justice. We want justice applied equally to all, regardless of creed or class or color. Third, we want equality of opportunity. We want equal membership in a good society, a society of righteous, a society of civilized people who believe in peace, who believe in practice peace and kindness.